I killed my first 3 tomato plants in a single summer, and honestly, I almost gave up gardening for good. If you've ever stared at a wilted seedling and felt like your thumb was the opposite of green, I want you to hear me out, because I'm about to walk you through 12 vegetables that are so forgiving, so genuinely beginner-proof, you'd practically have to try to kill them. These are the plants that rebuilt my confidence after years of feeling like I just wasn't cut out for this. And the last one on the list, well, that's the one that completely changed how I think about growing food at home after I spent way too many seasons overcomplicating everything. I've also got a sneaky little bonus tip at the end, a kitchen scrap trick I stumbled into by accident that gives you free salad greens almost forever. So stick with me, and let's get into it. Here's what I've learned after years of gardening and, frankly, making every mistake in the book. The vegetables that thrive for beginners aren't always the trendy ones on the seed packets. They're the ones with deep evolutionary toughness, fast germination, shallow root needs, and a willingness to grow even when you forget about them for a week. A lot of these you can even start from kitchen scraps sitting in your fridge right now. So let's start with the easiest of the easy. The first one I really fell in love with was leaf lettuce, and not the head varieties either. I'm talking about loose leaf types like black-seeded Simpson or salad bowl. Sprinkle the seeds about a 1/4 inch deep, give them a light watering, and within 7 to 10 days, you'll see green popping up. Here's the kicker. When you harvest, just snip the outer leaves and leave the center alone. The plant keeps producing for weeks. I used to yank the whole head out like a savage, and I wondered why my lettuce season was over in 2 weeks. Don't be me. Now, this next one is pure kitchen scrap magic, and it's the one that turned me into a believer in the whole regrowing movement. Take the white root ends of green onions, the part you'd normally toss, and stick them root down in a small glass with about 1 inch of water. Set it on a sunny windowsill. Change the water every 2 days, and within a week, you'll have fresh green tops shooting up. After about 10 days, you can transplant them outside, or just keep harvesting from the glass. I've kept the same bunch going for almost 3 months. Radishes are the gateway drug of vegetable gardening, and I'm not even sorry about that comparison. From seed to harvest, you're looking at 25 to 30 days for varieties like Cherry Belle or French Breakfast. Plant them about a 1/2 inch deep and 1 inch apart. Water consistently, and that's basically it. They genuinely don't care if your soil is mediocre, and they tolerate cool weather better than almost anything else. The first time I pulled a perfect red radish out of the dirt, I felt like I'd discovered fire. That kind of quick win is exactly what a new gardener needs. Now, before we get into the next 9, I want to share something with you, because if you're enjoying these tips, you're going to love what I've put together. It's called the 30-Day Kitchen Scrap Garden Protocol, and it's the complete system behind everything I'm teaching here. Inside, you'll find 31 regrowable crops with step-by-step instructions, a $10 starter kit guide so you don't waste a penny on equipment you don't need, zero-waste kitchen strategies, and full troubleshooting support for when something inevitably goes sideways. Just scan the QR code on your screen or click the link in the description. All right, let's keep going, because we've still got some real game changers coming up. Bush beans pair perfectly with what we just talked about because they share that same forgiving nature. Varieties like Provider or Contender are bulletproof. Plant the seeds about 1 inch deep and 3 inches apart after your last frost, and they'll start producing pods in 50 to 55 days. Beans actually pull nitrogen from the air and feed the soil, so they're improving your garden while you eat them. I've grown these in soil so tired, I was honestly embarrassed of it. And they still gave me handfuls of beans every couple of days. Here's one that took me about 3 seasons to fully appreciate, and it starts in your pantry. If you've ever had a clove of garlic sprout that little green shoot, don't toss it, plant it. Pop the clove pointy side up about 2 inches deep in the fall, mulch it with about 3 inches of straw, and walk away until next summer. You'll harvest a full head of garlic about 9 months later. I was wrong about garlic for years, thinking it needed some special touch, when really, it just needs patience. Speaking of pantry magic, let's talk potatoes. Got a sad sprouted potato in the back of your cabinet with little eyes growing out of it? That is a free crop waiting to happen. Cut it into chunks with at least 2 eyes per piece. Let them dry overnight so they callus over, then plant them 4 inches deep. As the plants grow, mound soil up around the stems every couple of weeks. About 90 days later, you'll dig up 4 to 6 pounds of potatoes from a single sprouted spud. The first time I did this, I genuinely laughed out loud. Zucchini has a reputation for being so productive that gardeners famously leave bags of it on neighbors' porches in August. There's a reason for that. Plant 2 or 3 seeds in a small mound about an inch deep after your soil hits 65 degrees Fahrenheit and thin to the strongest seedling. Within about 50 days, you'll have your first squash. The trick I wish I'd known sooner is to harvest them when they're 6 to 8 inches long, not the baseball bat monsters I used to let happen. Smaller zucchini are tender, sweeter, and the plant keeps producing more. Swiss chard is honestly one of the most underrated plants on this list, and it's a cut-and-come-again crop just like our lettuce earlier. Bright Lights or Ford Hook Giant will give you stunning rainbow stems. Sow seeds a ½ inch deep, thin to about 10 inches apart, and start harvesting outer leaves when they reach 6 inches tall. I've had a single chard plant feed me from May all the way through to a hard frost in November. That's 7 months of greens from one plant. You really cannot beat that kind of return. Kale is chard's cold-loving cousin, and it actually gets sweeter after a frost, which still kind of blows my mind. Lacinato, the dark crinkly variety, or Red Russian, are my 2 favorites. Space them 18 inches apart, harvest the bottom leaves first, and the plant keeps reaching skyward. I had one Lacinato plant survive a winter where temperatures dropped to 15 degrees Fahrenheit, and it kept producing into the next spring. After reading research from Oregon State Extension on cold-hardy brassicas, I started covering mine with a simple row cover, and now I harvest kale almost 12 months of the year. Now I know I started this video by admitting I killed 3 tomato plants in one summer, but those were full-size slicers. Cherry tomatoes are a completely different animal, and varieties like Sun Gold or Sweet Million are genuinely hard to fail with. Stake them at planting time so you don't disturb the roots later. Water deeply twice a week instead of a little every day, and pinch off the lower leaves as they grow. One healthy plant will give you hundreds of tomatoes from July through October. I wish I'd started here instead of getting humbled by beefsteaks. Cucumbers are the second to last on this list, and they're a beginner favorite for one reason. They grow so fast, you can almost watch it happen. Bush varieties like Space Master work great in small spots, or you can trellis vining types like Market more vertically to save space. Plant seeds an inch deep after frost, and water consistently, because uneven watering gives you bitter cucumbers. You'll be harvesting in 55 days. I learned the hard way that picking them every single day, even when they look small, keeps the plant producing. And here we are at the last one, the one I told you about at the start, the one that genuinely changed how I think about growing food at home. Sweet potatoes. Now, I have to be honest with you. For years, I assumed sweet potatoes were some advanced, tropical-only crop that wasn't worth my time as a regular home gardener. I was completely wrong, and I want to save you from making the same mistake I made for nearly a decade. Here's how it works, and this is pure kitchen scrap gardening at its finest. Take an organic sweet potato from your kitchen, the kind that hasn't been sprayed to prevent sprouting, and stick it halfway into a jar of water using toothpicks to hold it up. Set it in a warm, sunny spot. Within about 3 to 4 weeks, you'll see green sprouts shooting out the top. These are called slips, and each large sweet potato can produce 20 to 30 of them. When the slips reach about 6 inches tall, gently twist them off, set their stems in a glass of water for another week to grow roots, then plant them outside about 12 inches apart in loose, sandy soil after your nighttime temperatures stay above 60 degrees Fahrenheit. They love heat, They tolerate drought once established, and they spread out like a beautiful green ground cover that smothers weeds for you. About 110 days later, you dig up a harvest that genuinely looks like buried treasure. The first time I pulled up a single plant and found 6 fat sweet potatoes hanging from the roots. I sat down in the dirt and just laughed. From one grocery store sweet potato I would have thrown away, I grew nearly 40 pounds of food. That's the moment kitchen scrap gardening stopped being a hobby for me and started feeling like something truly transformative. Now, before we get to that bonus tip I promised you, let me share 3 common mistakes I see beginners make, and full disclosure, I made every single one of these myself. First, watering too lightly and too often. A quick splash every day actually trains roots to stay near the surface, where they dry out fast. Better approach: water deeply 2 or 3 times a week, so roots dig down where the moisture lasts. Second, planting too early because you're excited. I've lost so many seedlings to surprise late frosts that I now tape my last frost date right to the fridge. Wait until your soil hits the temperature each crop actually wants. And third, ignoring your soil. I used to think dirt was just dirt. Adding 2 inches of compost on top of your beds every spring will do more for your harvest than any fancy fertilizer. All right, here's that bonus tip I teased at the start, and this one is pure kitchen magic. Take the bottom inch of a celery stalk, the part you'd normally compost, and place it cut side up in a shallow dish with about a ½ inch of water. Set it in a sunny window. Change the water every 2 days, and within 5 to 7 days, you'll see new pale green leaves emerging from the center. After 10 days, transplant it into soil, and you've got a perpetual celery plant that'll keep producing stalks for months, free food from a scrap, every single time. If these 12 vegetables felt useful to you, I want you to know they're really just the surface of what's possible when you start growing food from the things already in your kitchen. That's exactly why I put together the 30-day Kitchen Scrap Garden Protocol, a 171-page guide that walks you through 31 regrowable crops day by day with photos and timing for each one. Inside, you'll get my $10 starter kit guide, so you can begin without buying a single fancy tool, 0 waste kitchen strategies that'll change how you shop, and full troubleshooting support for any plant that gives you trouble. It's everything I wish someone had handed me when I started. Just scan the QR code on your screen or click the link in the description, and it's yours for $17. Remember how I told you I almost gave up gardening after killing 3 tomatoes? These 12 vegetables are the reason I didn't. Drop a comment and let me know which one you're trying first, or if I missed one of your favorites. Happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next video.